Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's teleconference. Thank you very much for joining us. We are now joined with Sean Clark, the head coach of App State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, first off, congratulations to Coastal and Coach Chadwell and his program. Great college atmosphere for a big-time football game on ESPN. But thought our kids played very physical, thought they played great effort, and really proud of our players the way they competed. But you play in big-time games, you can't have penalties and turnovers and give up the big plays. So with that said, we're looking forward to Troy this weekend, coming into Boone at 8 o'clock on ESPNU, and it's going to be a great game.
Thank you, Coach. First questions come from Dan Mcdonnell with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. You look at the numbers of the game. You have it. Seems like the way you want it. You outgain them significantly. You control the ball. You run 76 plays to their 51. Was it just a matter of the big plays and the turnovers?
Yeah, again, a lot of that goes to how Coastal played. They played very well, but as I said earlier, you can't win big-time games. You can't turn the ball over and pre-snap penalties. And, you know, it's one of those deals. We kick the ball off and we kick it out of bounds. They get the ball on the 35-yard line. Both times we haven't scored. But I think a lot of credit goes to what Coastal was doing. But unfortunate, but we have to move on.
What were they doing in the second half where it looked like y'all were able to move the ball but, had issues in scoring when you had the opportunities?
Yeah, they made some adjustments at halftime, and it was a battle. But for us to, we're in the red zone 3 times, and you get 3 field goals. And in those type of games, you can't settle for field goals. We need touchdowns, and if we score touchdowns, it might be a different outcome. But you got to score touchdowns.
Your guys are so used to having their destiny in their own hands and so forth. How would your guys handle the fact that in order to get the conference championship game, they're going to need some help now?
We've been in the same boat for the last 4 years. We never went through the conference with going undefeated. We've always lost one. It's a tough conference, and we have to hope for a little bit of help. But our guys were resilient yesterday. They came in and saw the tape, saw where they messed up, and we're looking forward to playing Troy.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you. If everyone stand by, we're going to place everyone on a brief hold. We'll be back with Jamie Chadwell of Coastal Carolina here in about 5 minutes. Please stand by. All right, thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Jamie Chadwell, the head coach of Coastal Carolina. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, thank you. Just an unbelievable atmosphere this past weekend. 2 really good programs, battling out for first place there in the East, and I thought it was just a highly competitive game. Obviously, went down to the late in the fourth quarter. We were fortunate enough to make a few more plays there at the end. But really proud of our guys, especially after the first half. They took control there in the first half, and that second half was going to be big as far as how our team needed to respond to them. And I thought our guys did that well, and thankful to come out with the victory. I thought our defense really in the second half really stepped up. And then I thought offensively we found a few ways to make some plays when it mattered there. So just a great ball game in general, unbelievable environment, atmosphere, one of the most intense ones I've been a part of. And I thought it was a great day for the Sun Belt to be able to showcase 2 teams like that.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Alan Blondin with the Sun News. Please go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, hey, Coach. So you've got the win over App State now and a 1-game lead and the tiebreaker in the East, and the college football playoff standings come out Tuesday. Is now an opportunity for you to look at things and kind of maybe look at the bigger picture and what the larger goals for the team might be now moving forward?
No. So we'll be focused on Texas State because, if we don't go out there and take care of business, this game won't mean anything. And so I'm realistic on those, on the playoffs and the New Year's Six. I'm pretty realistic there that, our shot's slim and none, and Slim probably left the building already. So, but we're going to focus on these things that we can control, Alan, and that's what's helped us get to this point. We want to qualify for the Sun Belt Championship, and for us to do that, we got to win this coming weekend. And if we can do that, then there's at least an opportunity to talk about maybe something beyond that, but not until then.
Okay. To me, one of the keys to you guys' success this year is the fact that really all of your key players, almost all of your starters have very few have missed games. Whereas last year and, almost every year, most teams have a lot of injuries to deal with. So have you guys changed something up to try to keep people healthy, or is it largely luck, or is it a combination of that?
Well, I think there's probably sometimes luck does go into it. You avoid some. We were different. We did a little bit different this year with COVID, and the way we had to try to train and practice a little bit, just to get through, a season, to try to get to practice with all the different variables that we were dealing with. Our strength coach, this is really his, now he's into his truly his second year. He had an opportunity to really, train some guys, and they understand how they're going. So I think that's part of it, because all your strength trainings is try to reduce injuries. And I think our players, to their credit, are understanding what it takes to try to stay healthy too. What you have to eat, what you have to do to try to play a long season. All that goes into it. Our younger kids, we've got some younger kids that are banged up. They're not playing as much. They're banged up from some practice and some of those, but they're not eating right, sleep, all the different things that go into it. So there's a lot of different variables with that, but so far we've been pretty fortunate.
All right, Coach, just a quick follow to that. What's the name of your primary strength coach there? And what's that?
Go ahead, I'm listening.
And the other part was, if I recall, like Tehran and maybe some other players, don't they haven't they created some kind of a diet or something for themselves?
You'd have to ask them that. Every time I see them eating, if that's their diet, I need to be on it, because you get to eat whatever you want. But Chad Scott is our strength coach.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
All right, thank you, Alan. Our next questions come from Chris Danini with The Athletic. Please go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Jamie, how much do you think getting in all of spring practice helped? I know you and UConn were the only ones who got everything in, and UConn's not playing this year.
I think I definitely think it helped from a standpoint of allowing some of our younger guys that we thought needed to play this year. They got to go through a practice, see how you're implementing your schemes and trying to develop your identity. So I think that helped tremendously from that standpoint. Grayson McCall, who got 15 practices, that helps him. Your older guys not as much, because you're trying to keep them from getting banged from that standpoint. So for them, but for our younger guys, I think there's definitely a benefit from there. But on the other side, we've had some nicks and knacks from some of our younger people that if they had a normal off-season weight program in the spring, I think they wouldn't have had it. So what we gained from the knowledge, I think, has been a benefit. I think we lost a little bit, obviously, from our strength training and gaining some weight that you typically do in an off-season.
I appreciate it, Jimmy.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, thank you, Chris. And we have time for one more from Kyle Kinsey with Athlon Sports. Please go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, so Coach, when you first came on at Coastal with Coach Molia in 2017, that being the first year of the FBS transition, was there like a 5-year big picture where you envisioned the program reaching this point where it was, ranked in the top 20 and being mentioned, you're asked about the playoff? Was that the goal this early into the process?
I'm sure it was for Coach Moglia. Myself, I got here and got thrown into the interim. I was just trying to survive that year, to be honest with you. And so, because I came in as an assistant and then got named the interim that year. And so the only go I had was try to just get through week to week and try to not get fired after being 3-9. But I do know that, going FBS, there was obviously, they felt like you had an opportunity to do some good things here. knew it was going to take some time. I don't know if anybody said, hey, we're going to be ranked in the top 15, but I do think people felt like if we made an emphasis on it, we could be, competing for the Sun Belt Championship, which is what you want to do. And if you do that, then you got an opportunity to do some good things.
And, obviously you're focused on Texas State, but with that first win against Appalachian State and what that program's accomplished both in its FCS years and since transitioning up, I mean, how special was that for your program and for the guys, to get a win like that on national television?
Well, I think it was big, obviously, because they've ruled the conference the last 4 years, and obviously the East for a long time. Since they got in it, and to go, to win this thing, you got to go through them, and and us, and really a lot of other people haven't been fortunate to beat them either. But I do, what it does from just I think there may be a respect thing around the league and maybe around the country. You beat them. To give yourself an opportunity, that's a big deal. And I know our players put a lot into that. And so I'm sure we'll look back on that game. It was an intense competitive football game. Both teams are ready to play. And you'll look back on it when you get the opportunity, and there'll be a lot of great memories. And hopefully it's one of the, foundational wins that will help your program, try to take the next step, because it's a one time. We did it one time, but you want to try to do it a bunch. You want to be where, people have to say, hey, we got to go through Coastal. And we're not there yet, and we got to build our program to get that. But hopefully that win will help us get to that point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kyle. And thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are now joined with Steve Campbell, the head coach of South Alabama. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. You get *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Yep. Good morning. Obviously we were very disappointed in the outcome of this past Saturday's game against Georgia State. Thought we started off well. Thought, defensively we got played well in the first half. We held them 7 points, and they're a high-scoring team. And we created some turnovers and put ourselves in good position. We were able to jump out to, took the first drive right down after the turnover and went up 7-0. And went in at half 7-7, came back out third quarter and went up 14-7. And then, from that point on, we, they got it cranked up. We had a hard time getting them stopped and a hard time, scoring points. And, we've got to score points in order to win the game. And we had opportunities. We, moved the football and had opportunities. We just, we shot ourselves in the foot too many times and weren't able to match them once they got going there in the late third, early fourth. And, I thought, we had some guys. I thought Jared Wilson, that running back, played extremely hard and extremely well, had some big runs. Christian Bale at the outside linebacker, I thought he had a heck of a football game. And we just didn't play well enough or long enough to beat a good Georgia State, football team. And that's very disappointing. The guys were very disappointed. We bounced back, came back last night, had a good workout, watched the film, saw the mistakes that we need to correct in order to move forward. And, we looking forward to this weekend's game against a very explosive Arkansas State football team.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan Mcdonnell with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Dan.
Did you think your defense might have worn down a little bit in the second half? It looked like Georgia State was able to do some things offensively in the second half that they weren't able to do before halftime.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that is worn down or what. I thought we made some plays in the first half, and Christian Bale made a great interception. We had Sean Jennings had an interception. We created a turnover. I mean, we made some plays there in the first half. Then, quite honestly, they came back, made a play on a little square in and a dig route. The guy broke a tackle, and that kind of got their momentum going. And then from that point on, I think they they made more plays than we did, and we can attribute it to whatever, but that's definitely something that we need to get corrected.
Your guys ran more plays than they did, and you forced turnovers and so forth, but it seemed like that they were able – did you think they were able to run the ball better than they had, probably for several weeks?
Probably so. They, they definitely were able to, they got some things going on in the ground game, and then that opened up the play action stuff. They were able to rush the football, which they've been averaging about 200 a game, but we weren't able to put a stop to their running game. And then, we ran the ball for 160. It's just we gave up, sacks is what killed us. We'd get ourselves into a position where we're kind of moving the football, and then, we would take a sack, a protection here, or a missed deal here and there. Just we shot ourselves in the foot too many times to be able to keep pace.
Even with everything the last couple of weeks, your guys are still sitting there second in the West, and 2 games to go. You still have, that possibility of postseason hanging there this year. How do you is that like the message you try to get across to your guys?
Yeah, big thing we're talking to them about right now is let's get better every day. Let's get better every day, and the rest of that stuff will work itself out. We need to get better every day, and let's go play a good Arkansas State football team. Let's go get the W. We need to play well in all 3 phases. We need to put some points on the board because Arkansas State, they've scored a lot of points this year, and we need to go get the win. That will put us in. That is something we want to move up in the on our side of the conference, and this is a big game for sole possession of second place, and that is something that we talk about and that we want to do is move up in our side of the deal to make a step from we won 2 conference games in our half, and there's 4 other teams over here, and this is one of them. This will give us a chance to have 3 and to win 3 of the 4 in our side of the conference. So it's a big game.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're now joined with Jake Spavital, the head coach of Texas State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, talking about Saturday, thought it was a pretty impressive college football game. It was a very fun game to be a part of. It was very shootout driven, lots of points, very exciting, game between 2 teams that was pretty fun to watch on a national TV scale. But we're really proud of our kids. Again, like we talk every week about how they fight and how they try and they compete, and they've got a lot of heart. And I was just pleased with them for the first time this year that we actually got to put it all together and understand some momentum swings and stepped up and made some plays in critical moments that allowed us to finally get a win this year. And I think our kids, just to see the look on their faces in the locker room after a hard-fought win and just how excited they were, it was pretty awesome to be a part of. But I think that Coach Anderson has a really good team there at Arkansas State where, you can tell that they've kind of been through a bunch of injuries and some COVID protocols and issues that they've had a revolving door of players. And, I don't think we got their full strength team in that game, but, we'll be pleased to take a win here at Texas State. And I'm excited how these kids keep showing up every single day and they keep battling and they keep getting better. And it's just really pleased for them to actually put one all together and get a victory. So, questions?
Thank you, Coach. First questions come from Chris Vanini with The Athletic. Please go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Jake, just kind of what's the feeling, knowing that this is your last scheduled game of the season while some teams like Utah just started playing their first game, and just I know you're focused on your own team, but kind of the big picture of the uniqueness of that.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I think our kids have done a tremendous job on just doing what we ask them to do, and trying to. They understand that if they follow the protocols, they do what's right, and they're going to play. And I've been telling them that since really June. And who would have known that we're about to go into our 12th game? There's always concern every single week, especially with the spike that you're seeing across college football right now. And I put the emphasis on these kids after the game just to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And because you would hate for us to go 11 games and then have to maybe postpone or have a cancellation, on your last game of the season, where this would push the season back to, mid-December. So, but it's what I've said since day one. We just got to keep playing. And if we keep doing the right things, we'll have the opportunity to play. And look, you look at us now. I've been joking around that we should get an ESPY for COVID, the COVID team of the year, because the stats that we're putting up right now is pretty impressive, and we're about to play our 12th game and hopefully finish the season off.
Yeah, you kind of just said it, but obviously you're not happy with the win-loss record, but the fact that you were able to play a full season, I imagine maybe a silver lining, or at least kind of happy about that.
Yeah, it is. Before the season, you talked about not even the potential of not even having a season, and you have New Mexico State and Ohio on your schedule, and they ended up having cancellations, and then you start looking at your current conference, and then are we going to play or not? And there's just so much unknown that we just said, hey, we'll pick up as many teams as we possibly can, and just be thankful that we'll have the opportunity to play. And if you look back now, I would never thought that we'd have had 11 games done at this point, but you just got to be pleased with how we've handled everything, from our athletic trainers to our student athletes, and just all the moving parts that go into this, and just really our past six tests, we have not had a positive case here. So it just shows that these kids are buying into what they're doing.
Well, thanks, Jake. Appreciate it.
All right, Chris. Appreciate you.
All right, thank you, Chris. Our next questions come from Alan Blondin with the Sun News. Please go ahead, Alan.
Hey, Coach. As difficult as the season has been, what would a win over the 16th ranked team in the country do for you this week?
Yeah, that would be a tremendous win. This is the highest ranked team to ever come into Bobcat Stadium, and I believe the history of this program. And that would give us tremendous momentum going into the off season. I think these kids have gone through a lot of ups and downs, been very close in a lot of our games. We've had 6 losses within 10 points, 4 of them within a possession. And, to pull one out last week in a shootout, which was, it gave a lot of people anxiety, in our program, but it's a very fun college football game to watch. And to have, a great Coastal Carolina team coming in who's playing exceptionally well right now. And, if we could pull off a victory in this game, that would give us great momentum and probably a lot of confidence moving into the off season. So I think our kids are excited for this challenge, and I think it's going to be a fun football game.
All right, Coach. And as far as your quarterback, Brady had a phenomenal game this past week. Can you just go through real briefly the how the season has played out at that position? I think Tyler beat him out at some point, and then Tyler's gotten injured. If you can kind of explain how that's played out, and the game that Brady had.
Yeah, it's been an interesting year from that position. Brady won the quarterback battle through spring ball and fall camp, so he got the right to start versus SMU, and then due to COVID protocols, he ended up being out for 2 weeks, so they allowed Tyler to play 2 games. And then you're going to start Tyler versus Boston College, and then due to COVID protocols, he's out, so Brady goes back into the starting lineup, and you go into the Troy game, and you're like, all right, let's just start it all over, like. This is the first game of the season where Brady deserved the right to start. And, Brady won a few games there. And, there's a lot of, ups and downs with that position. I've been fortunate to coach a lot of quarterbacks, and I've done this with a lot where, you go through a season or some games where you don't have the best support around you, or we may not have the greatest protection, or we may not have any consistency needed. And it can cause some psychological things with quarterbacks where they start seeing ghosts, they start scrambling, they start forcing throws. And I thought, really after the Louisiana game that we needed to just take Brady out of the game and let him sit from the sidelines, let him calm down a little bit, let him gain his confidence back, and let Tyler go with it. And Tyler goes with the App State game and then a half of the Georgia Southern game. And unfortunately, dislocates his wrist in the Georgia Southern game. But I think that game and a half gave Brady a little bit more confidence, allowed him to calm down a little bit, let things slow down, had great weeks of practice, and he finished out the Georgia Southern game really well, playing at a more poised level than he had previously in the year, and put together another good week of practice. And this was the first game where I saw the kid go through his progressions, not force any throws, manage the game correctly, and had an extremely well game. And when you coach a lot of young quarterbacks, I've done this, I've set guys out, throughout the course of the year from, Case Keenum and Kyler Murray and Kyle Allen and Kenny Hill. And, you just go through all these kids that there's a lot of ups and downs, and it's hard to play that quarterback position. So it was good to just give Brady a little break, and it was pleasing for me and proud of the kid, the way he performed this past weekend where, he just put together a complete game and managed it well and threw a lot of beautiful passes in the game.
Thank you a lot, Coach.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Alan, and thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
I appreciate it, Travis.
Thank you. All right, and we are now joined with Chad Lunsford, the head coach of Georgia Southern. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Yeah, no problem. Obviously had a disappointing loss this past weekend to a very good Army team. It was probably the tale of two halves, and we were obviously able to jump out on them, able to cause some turnovers early in the game that allowed us to get points and get up on them 21-7 going into halftime. With then the second half, and we had the opportunity in the first half to add to the lead. We had a missed field goal. Then in the second half, Army did a good job of dominating time of possession throughout the whole game, but especially in that second half. Very limited opportunities for us. I think both teams ended up with, 10 real possessions. And, and Army was able to play a better special teams game in that second half. Us giving up a blocked punt, blocked extra point. That ended up being an 8-point turnaround in the game. And obviously Army winning by 1 point, that really hurt us. We had our opportunities, did not take advantage of it, disappointed with it, but we got to turn the page and move on and get ready for our next one and make sure we don't let the last one affect us for the next one. So looking forward to that opportunity to reset and play again.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan Mcdonnell with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. What did Army do, especially, I guess pretty much throughout the ball game? What were they doing defensively that sort of was able to slow y'all down some on offense, something that not a lot of people have been able to do?
Well, to be honest with you, if you look at our drives, the first two series were 3 and outs, but then after that, we pretty much had a grasp on what they were doing. Because now, again, the third drive, that one was a 2-play, 1-yard drive for a touchdown because of the turnover. But then the next one was 8 plays, 86 yards, touchdown, 5 plays, 65 yards. We missed a field goal. The last drive of the half, our defense had created a turnover, and we decided to kneel it out going into half. There wasn't much time on the clock. Started the second half out with a 3 and out. But then we came back 4 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. And then the last 3 drives, we had 10 plays, 31 yards. We turned it over on downs on 4th and 1. And then at that point, we ended up being behind. So we went into 2-minute mode. Unfortunately, we threw an interception. And then the very last drive, we were, lucky to even have that drive. I think with the way Army tried to run the clock out, it didn't end up working out for them. And so we were able to get the ball back and, we were able to move it down and we got it to the 30-yard line. Wanted a little bit more room for our field goal kicker. to feel comfortable taking it, and ended up time ran out on us. So to be honest with you, after that, after those first 2 3-and-outs and the first 3-and-out in the second half, I do think we drove the ball well. The unfortunate part is the opportunity with possessions and not controlling the time of possession. Basically Army flipped the script on us on that, and that ended up hurting us more than really what they were doing on defense.
Was it almost like your team has done that to so many others in the past, and here's another team that is controlling the football, controlling the time of possession and so forth? That had to be, like you said, a little bit of a flip the script.
Yeah, it was, and we knew that the challenge on defense was going to be making sure we played great first down defense, and for the most part, I feel like we did that. The unfortunate part was we needed to make sure we were good in the third and short and fourth and short situations, and Army was able to get 50% of their third downs, and then they were 100% on their 4 tries on fourth down. If we could have gotten any of those on the fourth down, you could almost treat that like a turnover, but we were not able to get them off the field in those situations. And when they were able to do that, that allowed them to obviously get back in the game. Again, though, overall defensive play, they held, our defense held Army to 268 total yards and 3.3 per play. I don't think you could ask for much more than that, and then obviously creating 3 turnovers. I think that's a great plan to win for sure. Just would have liked to have been better on the third downs and fourth downs, to not allow them to get the points. But really and honestly, to me, the game, the issue was, us not performing well on special teams. The opening half kickoff, giving up field position right there with them getting a 37-yard return, a missed field goal, a blocked extra point, and a blocked punt was really the difference in the game.
You've got a rivalry game this weekend. What do you see out of this Georgia State team? It looks like they were able to run the ball better than they had most recently in this past weekend.
Well, I tell you what, man, they've really continued to grow offensively. I think last year they were really putting it together and doing a really good job offensively. I think year 2 in their offense has really started to really show for them. Very balanced, throw the ball, run the ball. A lot of different. They give you a lot of different matchup problems and things like that. So it will definitely be a real challenge for us because we just spent a whole week getting ready for something that's totally different from Georgia State, and so our defense has got to get back to the traditional offense-minded stuff, and we got to do a great job of making sure we put a great plan in place. And also we had travel difficulties getting back. We didn't get back till late last night from our game with Army, and so we've obviously missed our Sunday night practice that we would normally get. So we're going to have to be very efficient. We're going to have to treat this like a short week, and make sure our guys are dialed in, keep it simple for them, make sure they're dialed into what Georgia State's doing on offense.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
Yep, no problem. Thank y'all. GATA.
Thank you. And we are now joined with Blake Anderson, the head coach of Arkansas State. If you have a question for Coach Anderson, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. You get *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Sure. Hard-fought, frustrating loss on Saturday on the road to Texas State. Guys, they bottom line, they made plays when they needed to. We didn't. Felt really good about how hard the guys played, but just execution wasn't there when we had to have it in critical situations. Jake's doing a phenomenal job with that offense. We knew they could score points. Concerned about that going in. Just seemed to be keep getting better every week offensively, and it showed their ability to throw and catch and make the big play, explosive play, and to get the drive with 1:43 left on the clock to go down and get a touchdown when a field goal wouldn't do it. It just says everything you need to say about them. Quarterback played lights out for him and made all the plays that he needed to and didn't turn the ball over. And so for us, guys, we battled, we competed, played 60 minutes of it, just couldn't get the stop we needed to defensively, and we had several big drops that could have changed the outcome of the game, and that's where we talk about energy alone is not enough. You got to get the execution when your number's called, and we just didn't make those plays. So you got to shift to home game against South Isle, completely different looking football team than what we've seen out of Texas State. Spread, air raid, slinging around. South Isle is built to put tight ends and fullbacks and big-bodied dudes on you on the field, so our defense is going to have to shift gears. We went down there a year ago, and they just played more physical ball than we did and beat us. So we've got them here at home. We need to find a way to get a win. We still have the hopes of being bowl eligible and getting to a winning season, but we just have built ourselves, really a huge challenge here to have to win out. And luckily, we get to play at home and get to come back here at home and play and not have to travel. So hopefully we can heal these guys up and get their energy level moving in the right direction, body language, and find a way to improve this week and go get a win.
Thank you very much, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan Mcdonnell with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
You got the big play in the third quarter, and then you've got the really long drive that you score early in the fourth. It looked like you were taking control of the game. Did Texas State do anything in particular after that when they were able to come back and sort of answer pretty quick?
They really didn't. To be honest with you, I thought we had a chance to go down and score and really put, 2 scores between us and them. And offensively, we busted at right tackle 2 plays in a row, and then we missed. We dropped a wide open conversion throw on 3rd and 9 that would have continued to drive and potentially had us give us a really good opportunity to go down and put 2 scores between us and them. And then defensively, we lost in 1-on-1, 2 1-on-1 situations in a row, a vertical ball down the left sideline and another one in the right corner, and just technically they executed better than we did. We dropped balls, we missed opportunities, they made plays, and they took ownership of the game. And even with that being said, had a chance to go down and win it at the end and couldn't make the play.
You mentioned the quarterbacks last couple of weeks. Looked like Hatcher was able to get some big plays for you. Can you talk a little bit about his performance?
Well, both guys, with the exception of the turnover that we can't have, both guys, obviously threw the ball well. The numbers tell you that they did. We were over 50% on 3rd down. We almost 700 yards of offense. Really the only issue, that really hurt us was the fumble that Hatch did have, and ball should have been out of his hands way earlier. Neither one of them played flawlessly, but played well. We missed a couple other opportunities, but biggest issues for us for the day were, the few drops that we had in potentially explosive situations, and the fact that we just couldn't get pressure and cover people effectively on defense. I thought both quarterbacks gave us a chance to win.
You talk about the 3 home games coming, and your team still got that shot at postseason this year. Is that sort of the way you approach it with your guys? Did you
Absolutely.
Still got your destiny a little bit?
Yeah, one of our goals always is to be a bowl eligible. We've got a 9-year streak. We want to stretch it to 10, and so we still know that's within reach. We want to win championships, and that's we've been out of that race for a while. But honestly, at this point, where we're at, all we've come through with COVID and just the different issues, adversity we've dealt with through the season, man, we're just trying to get that first win, trying to get better, trying to play our best ball. We've had a couple good weeks of defense, a couple good weeks of offense. We need to get it all moving in the same direction on the same Saturday and get the first win. We'll worry about the next one when we can get the first win. And so coming really close and having the lead late and not getting it done, similarly having the lead against Lafayette the week before and not finishing it, we just want to get over the hump.
You mentioned COVID. Your team's probably had more issues with it than maybe just about anybody around. Does this whole season sort of have an asterisk next to it?
Well, it's clearly not the team that we started the season with, and I'm fortunate. I'm thankful that we've got everybody back outside, really the COVID window, where we're not really concerned about what it's going to do to them, and now like we were, but we have not been the same team since, and we did. It has definitely affected the season in ways that none of us ever expected. So all we can do, though, is control what we can control, and that's us and our approach to it. Try to find a way to finish down the stretch and regroup and refresh, get healthy in the off season, and go right back at it. But I told the guys yesterday, I don't want to wait till the off season. We've got 3 more games ahead of us. We want to earn the 4th. That's still very much within our reach. Even with all that we've been through, even with how hard COVID has hit us, we can still win these games. We can still keep the bowl streak alive and get postseason play. So it's not a waiting kind of game. We want to affect things now, and I think the guys have a great attitude for that, even with all they've been through.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And we are now joined with Matt Vitor, the head coach of ULM. If you have a question for Coach Vitor, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Sure. We were excited to get back going Saturday, and after being off for several weeks, and so we got back and got going a little bit Saturday, and then again yesterday, and trying to get everybody back in a football rhythm, so to speak, and and then try to get on a normal week. But so it's going to be a tough week, no doubt, and a lot of credit to Louisiana and what they've been able to do, what Coach Napier and his staff have done with their football team. It's really, really impressive, and unfortunately, I've had a lot of time to watch them, and I'm just really impressed with what they're doing. From an offensive standpoint, they run the ball with the 3 good tailbacks, of course, and I think they've done a great job with their receiving group this year, more by committee, than maybe, without number 2 they had last year. And but I can't say enough good things about Levi Lewis, and watching him and what he does each and every week. He's just a phenomenal player, in my opinion. And, you could tell last year the game slowed down for him, and it's really slowed down this year in terms of what he's doing. But there's a few plays every game that he makes, that he extends plays and running or gets out of the pocket and makes throws that it's hard enough to stop him. And then, when you think you do have him, he extends plays. So I think he's been phenomenal. Defensively, their front guys are really good, I think, and both their defensive tackles are standout players. The ends are really good. And so, look, we know it's going to be a tough challenge for us, to play a team of this caliber, but, we're concerned about us and trying to get us back going and putting the very best product that we can out on the field Saturday, to play against a good football team.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan Mcdonnell with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. You used
Dan,
the term.
how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. You used the term normal. I'm not sure what that is this year, but is it almost like your guys are going to be starting over a little bit this weekend?
No, I don't necessarily think so, Dan. It's I think what's different, we had pretty long layoff earlier in the year before we played Army, but when we came back, it was in 95 to 100 degrees, and trying to get everybody back going and stuff. And, at least we're fortunate now the weather's a little better. We were able to practice Saturday and Sunday, go out and do some stuff. And, it seemed like we were, closer than what we were at that particular time. But, who knows? We'll see how they handle the week and, leading into Saturday.
Can there be a benefit to the long layoff, and that your guys may be a little fresh when normally toward the end of November that might not be the case?
I don't know. It's possible, but I think, if you're able to do some things and, just maybe, like a normal open week where you're able to practice a little bit and, scratch where it itches, so to speak. But when you're not doing anything, I don't know. And, I don't have a lot of experience with this, and I guess it'll be 3 weeks, before we played. So I don't have a lot of experience with this, so I'm not sure what's going to happen.
You still got the 3 games remaining after this and on into December. What's the message to your guys for these last 3 games?
To finish, we're worried about this week, obviously, and go out and do as good as you can, play as hard as you can. Let's don't beat ourselves. The normal the normal things and stuff. And it's a different situation. I mean, I know it's not what these kids expected. It's nothing like I've ever been through for sure. And but all I keep telling them, I heard Coach Anderson say a while ago, control what you can control and control your effort, control your attitude. Help out your teammates, and let's go try to improve and see what we can do this Saturday. So that's basically the message.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thanks, Dan.
All right. Thank you, Dan. And thank you, Coach. I do appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you. If everyone can stand by, we'll be back with Billy Napier of Louisiana here shortly. Please stand by. All right, thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Billy Napier, the head coach of Louisiana. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. You get *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Well, we are certainly excited about another opportunity to play this week. I think resume football activities on Saturday. We've been able to get 2 good practices in yesterday. Saturday and Sunday, certainly turned the page yesterday evening to ULM. I think big thing is this is a rivalry game regardless of records and statistics. These guys have played us down to the last possession of the game the last 2 years. We've got a ton of respect for Coach Vitor and his staff. Certainly play with great effort and toughness, a very disciplined team, very fundamentally sound. They've got an identity in all 3 phases, and I know the ball hadn't bounced their way this year and certainly have had some issues when it comes to COVID-19. So overall, a great opportunity for us to continue to improve. We've got about a month left here, and really excited about the challenges in front of us and what we're capable of accomplishing. So, and that starts with our next challenge, and that's ULM on Saturday at 2:00. So, what questions do we have here?
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan Mcdonnell with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
The important question is, how are you feeling?
I'm doing great. I had, I've made my way through the fray a little bit here. I think I'm on the way out. You can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I'm doing just fine. I actually feel 100% back to normal today. I had really one rough day there, day and a half or so, where the symptoms were pretty tough. But overall, I think I'm on the way out of it. So really appreciate all the people, certainly Pat Richards, our athletic trainer, and a number of other people here locally that have helped, not only with myself, but with a number of our players and a handful of staff. So overall, we're doing well. We do have, we've had some battles here when it comes to positives and also some contact tracing, but in general, we're trending in the right direction and, looking forward to what's next.
You talk about what's next. What does your week look like, and what are you going to be able to do, and what kind of timeline do they have you on?
Well, I'm working remotely. We've kind of the place I'm isolated to. We've got it set up for the video and certainly the virtual meetings and all that. So we'll be doing that with the staff and the players this week. We've already started some of that process yesterday and today with the staff and players. So in general, I think it's going to provide opportunities for other staff and players to really step up and take over, in a lot of the different areas where maybe if I was there in person. So, I'll just operate remotely, watch all the video of practice with the staff, via Zoom, Certainly won't be able to be at practice. My last day of isolation is Friday. I'll join the team, and Saturday I'll wake up Saturday morning and travel separate and meet them at the stadium. So, in general, I think just following the exactly what the local doctors here have prescribed in terms of our plan, and so far so good.
One more quick question. Does it make a difference preparing for a team that, like ULM, has had the COVID issues, that has not played now for 3 weeks? Does that make a difference in your preparation?
Well, I think we're both going to have a little bit of that. I think whether we've had personnel that hasn't been available, that maybe has missed some time, I know certainly for them, we're going to be on a 2-week turnaround. They're in a 3-week turnaround. But I think overall both of us have a handful of issues as a result of COVID-19. So it is what it is. At every level of football, it's affecting how you prepare. It's affecting who's available. It's not necessarily about the problems as much as it is about being creative with your solutions. Football is a team game. It takes a number of people to have success. And if anything, there's going to be people that have more of a contribution this week, and that presents a great opportunity for those people.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
You as well. We stand by. We'll be back with Chip Lindsey of Troy here shortly. Please stand by. Thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Chip Lindsey, the head coach of Troy. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate you having me. Obviously disappointed we didn't get the win Saturday. I thought our guys really fought and played hard under some tough circumstances. We've been hit pretty good with COVID and so forth. But at the end of the day, we did everything we could do to play the game and just really honestly didn't play well enough to win. Very inconsistent offensively. Defensively, I thought we played pretty solid with the exception of not tackling really well, especially in the first half. But I thought our defense settled in the second half, played extremely well. Special teams, I thought we were very average, just a couple penalties that hurt us on some big returns. And really, I think overall as a team, we really just didn't execute very much at a high level all day and struggled with that. Had opportunity still at the end to win, but really didn't get it done. Very disappointing. And, turn around, we got to get ready for a really good App State team this week. So we can't feel sorry for ourselves. And went back to work last night, and it looks like we had a pretty good practice from what I could tell, not being there, but just watching the video. So hopefully we'll get a bunch of guys back this week. That's the plan, and I think we're on track for that. But, in this day and age, you just never know. So we got to be prepared to play no matter who we got, and that's what we're going to do. So that's kind of where we are. Question?
Thank you very much, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan Mcdonnell with the Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Morning, Dan.
How, obviously you mentioned the COVID issues that you and a few other Sun Belt teams have had. How frustrating is that knowing, that your team was playing, well right there at the start of the year and now you're sort of playing shorthanded?
Yeah, it has. I think early in the year we didn't get hit much by it, and it seems like the last 3 weeks we've really been it kind of comes in waves, I guess. When I talk to other coaches around our league and the country, some are in good shape, and then more than not, some are really hurting with it. And I don't know what to say about that. There's really, we kind of try to control the things we control, but it just feels like, your kind of hands are tied a little bit, and you just got to put your best foot forward and keep working and keep competing. And, when we stood up in front of the team in August and said everybody in this room is going to be important, it never was more of a true statement than it's been for us the last 3 weeks. But At the same time, we're glad to be playing. We're trying to do everything we can do to follow all the protocols and guidelines set by our conference and our school, and that's what we're trying to do. So our guys have kept a good attitude and continue to fight through adversity, and hopefully looking forward to getting some guys back this week.
You got 4 conference games left, and you still have a legitimate shot at finishing as high as second in the East, and postseason is still right there for you. Is that sort of the message to your guys right now?
Yeah, it was. I mean, yesterday, I had a Zoom call with our team and told them, I said, we got a lot of, we got our backs against the wall a little bit now. We've kind of put ourselves in a tougher position, but we got 4 games left. We could put ourselves in a great position and look back and think this is a turning point in our season, how we recovered, from the COVID issues we've had. And I think our guys are got their jaw set to do that. We know we're going to play 4 good teams, and who knows what those teams will all be looking like by the time we play them. But, our focus right now is on App State, who obviously has got another really good football team. And on the road, it'll be tough on us, and it'll be a really big challenge. But I think our guys will get ready for it, and looking forward to it for sure.
You mentioned Zoom call with your team. Did you ever think we'd be in a position that would be how you'd communicate with them?
No, not really. I mean, obviously during the pandemic, when it first started, we were all separate. It was kind of the norm, and we've continued to Zoom some here and there, but throughout the season. But now that's really what I'm relying on. From the standpoint of regular team meetings every day and position meetings and so forth with the quarterbacks. So that's where we're at. That's the hand we've been dealt, and no excuses. We got to figure a way to get it done.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
Okay, thank you, buddy.
Thank you. If everyone can stand by, we'll place everyone on a brief hold. We'll be back with Sean Elliott of Georgia State here shortly. Please stand by. All right, thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Sean Elliott, the head coach of Georgia State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Sure. Good afternoon. We had I think a really good contest. Came away with a win at South Alabama this past Saturday, and it was really good to see how it unfolded for us. Our offense, we had 4 turnovers in the first half, and sometimes that thing can go really south when you do that. And our team really on the sideline stayed very positive, and it's a lot of encouraging going on, knowing that we would right the ship pretty hopefully sooner than later on Saturday. In the second half, it all kind of came around. I thought defensively they played a great ball game. There's a lot of pressure on the quarterback, taking away their run, but all in all, it was just a really good game for us. We felt like there was some things offensively we could do against them, and if we had just not had the turnovers, we felt like we'd had a pretty clean game. But unfortunately, we did have those 4 turnovers. But we got the win. We feel good about it. And moving on this week, I guess it's our 9th game. It's hard to believe here we are in the 9th game of the season. And for us, right now it's our last game of the season, regular season. And we have a good Georgia Southern team that's coming in our place here in Atlanta. So it's going to be an exciting contest, as always, when we play those guys, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Coach. Our first questions come from Stan Autry with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Please go ahead, Stan.
Okay. Hey, Sean. The defense has played so well the last few games. How would you say, what is the challenge this week Is it similar to the Appalachian State game, or what's going to be the key to slowing these guys down?
Well, I don't think they're going to get their yardage. I mean, they're a well-coached football team. They run the ball exceptionally well. They get their option game going and their perimeter runs, and then they hit you on the play action stuff. So, we just got to continue to do a good job in coaching and our preparation, and then our players have to go out there and execute, and then they got to play harder than the other team. I think it's about the want to. When you look at us defensively the last couple of weeks, I mean, they're just flying around with great intensity and really have a good mindset. And I think it's going to have to take that mindset and more to control this offense of Georgia Southern. I don't know how you control it. They're going to get theirs, but we're certainly going to play as hard as we can and try to do our very best.
Will Antavius or Dante be back this week, or too early to tell?
I think both of those guys will be back this week. We're not practicing on Mondays, so but they've gotten treatment yesterday and feeling pretty good. So I think they're going to be good to go.
And how do you like finishing the regular season with the in-state rivalry? How that thing has developed over the years?
Oh, yeah, I think it's fantastic, to tell you the truth. I think it builds up during the course of the season, and for it to be kind of the ending point for you it's an exciting time. I wish it was played on a little bit different date other than Thanksgiving weekend, of course, but it's always an exciting contest. They've always got a really competitive team, and I think the fan bases, they get after each other a little bit, so that's always good. And I think rivalries in any situation are good for sports. I mean, it brings out the competitiveness in everything that we do. I mean, in recruiting, on the field play, it's just good. I love the energy that comes along with it.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you on Saturday.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Stan. Our next questions come from Ben Moore with 24/7 Sports. Please go ahead, Ben.
Hey, afternoon, Coach. Wanted to follow up on one of the and Stan hit a couple guys that I was going to ask you about, but I know Destin Coates went out after that fumble there early, and I don't believe he took another snap the rest of the game. Was that just more? Is he maybe a little bit banged up, or is it just other guys were running it better? Just want to ask you about Destin.
No, that was solely a decision on my. It was my call. I mean, I've seen him fumble the last few weeks, and I said I can eliminate one thing. That's him fumbling by him not playing. So we didn't put him back in there. Destin's a fine back, but he has put the ball on the ground. It's unfortunate it happened again, but that was solely my call. I said we've got guys that are capable of carrying the ball other than him, and right now we're going to let them go and do the work.
Understood. Wanted to hit on the defense. You mentioned right after the game they were like animals hunting. Is there something just stuck out to them as the guys growing up in this defense, maturity, guys growing up? Can you put your finger on it? You almost seem surprised post game at how well they have played basically for 2 straight weeks.
Well, no, it's not surprising. It's just fun to see them go out there and do the things that I've seen in practice. And if for whatever reason, I do think maturity plays a huge role into it. I mean, you take guys like Jeffrey Clark that's still young, and Stretch is coming back. I mean, he didn't play an entire season a year ago coming off a knee injury, but those guys are hunting. And when I say hunting, they're stalking their prey, and they're going out and doing a tremendous job. And I just love to see the rallying point and all the energy that's created off of it. We all have to go through that process of the maturation process I'm talking about, and when it does click, it's an exciting thing to see and stand over there and witness, and they're just clicking right now.
Excellent. Thank you, Coach. We'll see you Saturday.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ben. And our next questions come from Brady Weiler with ThursdayNight.com. Please go ahead, Brady.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
So, switching to the other side of the ball, Georgia Southern's got one of the stingier defenses in the conference. So what do you think are going to be the keys for the offense to move the ball on them?
Oh, man. I mean, if you do look at their defense, I think they're one of the best defenses in our conference. I mean, they really are. They're stingy against the run. I mean, they do a lot of good things. Coach Sloan and his staff, I mean, all of them, from Vitor Broad, I mean, all those guys defensively just do a hell of a job. And, you know, we're going to have to play a mistake-free game. I mean, in assignments and in turnovers, so we're going to have to make sure those things are eliminated and kind of stay on the course. You know, it's hard to find a weakness, to tell you the truth, when you watch them, because I just think they're so well coached and do so many good things. But we're going to pick a way at them and see if we can find some weaknesses here in the next couple of days and go attack them. But you know, right now it's just got to be a clean ball game from us. We can't have any loss of yardage plays, and we've got to take advantage of the small little things that they're going to give us, but they're not going to give us a lot.
And then one more specific question on the offense. I know that you've mentioned in weeks past about the quad needs to pick times to not try and win the game with one throw, but how do you sort of balance that with the fact that he can air it out really, and he's got such a good, reliable, big target in Sam downfield, as he showed on Saturday, 170 receiving yards?
Well, it's something, you know, those throws are fine with me. It's the throws that we give him that we say, hey, you know, this is your one shot, and we don't want you to try to win the game. If it turns into a scramble moment, just get it out of your hands and play the next down. And, you know, really on one occasion Saturday, he just made a blunder and kind of tried to force a throw, which was just not there. And, you know, something I was really disappointed in seeing. But like I said, everybody has to grow and everybody has to mature and everyone has to, you know, get some of those things out of him. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman. He's got a lot of football that he hasn't played and a lot of football left to learn and play. So, you know, I think he's still doing a good job. I don't question that, but I just don't want those one little fluke moments where he tries to win it with an awkward throw to a guy that's well covered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brady. And thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
Okay. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you. That'll conclude this week's teleconference. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us. A copy of this will be posted on the Sunbelt Conference's website later today. We hope everybody has a great week and safe travels. Thank you. 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 And safe travels. Thank you.